Well, I've got about 1.5 million fins, but for the Apex, I ride the Power Flex, and I basically ride a 10.5 in every size board. I think the length of the fin to me is always dictated by the width of the tail, not the length of the board. And I'll show you why in a second, but Power Flex is pretty much my number one go-to for the Apex. And then the involvement fin I actually made for Surfboard, but I've been riding the Power Flex for so many years, it feels very homey. But the involvement fin is made for an involvement longboard, which the Apex is. So for that board, these are my two favorite fins. They're very similar in intention. Just the involvement fin, there's a little less fin there. So in theory, it was supposed to turn better, be a little bit better in the windy conditions, just be a little bit more nimble. So, and I find that that's true. It worked what I hoped it would do. But the Power Flex, I'm so used to it. It's really hard to get me off of it when I'm riding any type of performance log.
So the involvement fin might be a really good choice for a lot of people in Hawaii.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's a very traditional, inspired by some old Dick Brewer fins, Mark Andrini, Yater. This fin has really nice curves, in my opinion. I feel like it's very it's very appealing and very simple to ride. I personally feel like the more curve, the weirder the fin looks, the harder it gets to ride. So this, in my humble opinion, is a very simple design, and it's very easy for a lot of people to ride. I think it would be a great fin for Hawaii. It's got a modest foil, very easy to ride.
So a lot of people come in and they're like, "Oh, does this thing have a lot of flex to the tip?" What do you say about that?
Well, I had an experience with a friend of mine in Australia, a famous fin foiler, and I think that flexi fins are very, it's very, let's say you could have George Greeno foil you a fin. George Greeno would foil you a fin that's much, much stiffer than, say, a fin he would foil for something that weighed 10 or 20 pounds less. So to generalize a flex is almost impossible to do. That's like saying everybody should wear a medium t-shirt. Just, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've taken this and I've just used a very humble, small amount of flex, because pretty much everybody is riding too much flex. So I'd rather have, I have flex, and it has a really nice flex fin template, but it's very modest flex, because what I find is that the stiffer my fin, the more reliable it is. When you ride a fin that has a lot of flex, it gets unpredictable. And I want my fin to be as predictable as possible. If I turn, I don't want it to wag after my turn. I want it to be like quasi traction, power steering, no unpredictable wagging, no delayed reaction. I don't see any benefit in that, personally. And I've been schooled by some pretty gnarly guys like Mark Andrini, George Greeno, The Wiz from McTavish, a lot of good fin foilers who have given me those thoughts. So it's not just my experience, it's also from a lot of years of talking to important people that are good fin designers.
sense.
But I'll show you a trick. I don't know if you've ever seen that trick I do about measuring a fin. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I'm going to show you guys a little fin measuring trick on my apex. So come over here. Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Come back to the fin box here. So, can you like get a vertical? Can you see that? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this right here is the base of your fin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not here. This.
Yep.
And so if you take that and you line that base of your fin up, can you see that?
Yes.
In the center of the box this way, not this way, the center of the box this way.
Okay.
You should have 1/3 of the fin hanging over the rail.
Oh, wow.
So, like if I pull it back, there's 1/3 of the fin. So if I was to put this fin in my board, I would put it right there.
Oh, so this is for the placement.
This is for the choosing the length of your fin and the placement. You want 1/3 of the fin hanging over the rail.
Oh, wow.
Now I learned that fin measuring technique from Mark Andrini, who learned that from Rennie Yater. So that's a trick that's been going on since the beginning of time in longboarding.
Wow. Wow.
And like for Yater, everything Yater's done, that's how he's done it.
So what's the advantage of that?
Well, that's just to ensure that when you're turning, you're never going to skip out.
Oh, okay.
Because once your fin doesn't go that far over, you're very limited in your turnability. You'll skip out. So,
oh man, thank you for that tip. Right on.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will tell you, "Oh, I only ride like a 9-inch fin," but they have a 17-inch tail, which is so not right. It doesn't matter how small the customer is. Doesn't matter how long the board is. It's all about the math. That math.
Sweet. Oh man, right on. Thanks, CJ. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll help. But that's why I feel like my tails are 17 and a bit. So a 10.5 almost always works for me in my longboards. Single fin long.
Yeah. And that is that hold true for like pivot fins too?
100%.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, thank you very much.
Look at this. Here's a classic pivot, which I designed this for. Where's the other one? Well, this was like kind of an evolve. I wanted to evolve the old fin, the Cali pivot. So when I made the classic pivot, which this is, I just wanted to sweep it back a little bit more because I was trying to get more performance out of my sprouts. So sweeping your fin back, adding a little base to it, removing a little tip. That was to get my board to drive more, get more speed out of tail surfing my sprout, and then removing a little tip from it to keep it loose. So I ride this fin 90% of the time these days in my sprout. All the footage you see of me recently, I've been riding this fin, going back and forth a little bit from my new Noserider fin, but I feel like this fin is like such a workhorse. It's almost like for a big wide square tail or a traditional pintail log, this fin's just amazing. Can't get enough of this fin.
Right on.
This is the new Noserider fin. So again, I like Kelly pivot to make a fin that would just maximize nose rideability. So I straight edge, which gives you a really predictable pivot um, to set up for your nose ride. And then I left as much tip in as possible and kind of just kept a little bit of edge back here so I can have a little bit of twang just to get a little bit of bite and drive. And this fin is very much like the old Bing fins in the 60s and like the Rick UFO fin, that type of fin. This fin really honors old nose riding fins. And yeah, for me, this fin just holds like it's definitely the best fin I've ever used for nose riding.
So with that, you're saying that bite. So when you're trying to make that section, it'll give you a little bit more drive down the line, and then you can.
Yeah, trailing tip, then I could fit into say, you could see on the classic pivot, it's like
Yeah.
there's just more
Yeah.
area on the tip, so it just holds a little bit more and just gives you control. Like if you're hanging 10 in the whitewater trying to beat a section.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, for performance nose riding and technical nose riding, I think the best fin that I personally come up with. I know a lot of my guys, like Sea Monster and some of the other team riders, they have amazing fins that do similar things. So I'm not saying that all of my theory is perfect and right for everybody, but this is what works for me. So
Right on, man. Thank you very much.
yes, sir.